This is Hemant.
And Jessica.
And you're listening to the Friendly Atheist podcast. If you like what you're listening to, please make a contribution to patreon.com/Friendly Atheist podcast. And this episode is different from our usual ones. Jessica actually sat down with her brother. And Jess, what did you guys talk about?
So my brother Kevin read a book called Satanic Panic, Pop Cultural Paranoia in the 1980s. And just sort of gave me a little oral history of it and let me know what it was all about. I'm learning it for kind of the first time. That was our third take doing that recording. It is our second take doing this recording. So, man, if this makes it to your ears, we did something right finally.
And you said this was like a takeoff of the Dollop?
Yeah. It was kind of a hat tip / rip off of the Dollop. So it's my brother Kevin telling me a story, and I'm just sort of reacting and acting as your audience surrogate.
Excellent. Can't wait to listen.
Yay. Hey, it's Jessica. Welcome to the Friendly Atheist podcast. I have a special guest this evening. It is my brother.
Hello, it's me, Jessica's brother Kevin.
Hopefully the sound quality is okay. We had some technical difficulties, so we're recording a little bit differently tonight. Also, this is the third time my brother and I have tried to record this particular episode, so you may notice Hammond and I are kind of playing with the format. It used to be straight interviews. Now we're playing with more news stuff. And, we're just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. So my latest spaghetti, to continue this metaphor, is I'm bringing my brother on the show. He is a high school English... Can you get off your phone for like a moment? He's a high school English teacher. And so he and I are both fans of this podcast called The Dollop. If you haven't heard of it, go listen to it now. Start at the beginning. I think it's episode 2 that they do purity balls. It's outstanding. The format is Dave Anthony does a ton of research, reads a story from American history to a comedian, Gareth Reynolds, who just sort of reacts. It sounds very simple. It's a very excellent podcast. And my brother and I both really like it, and we thought it would be kind of a fun thing to kind of do a hat tip to. Are you just waiting for me to stop talking?
No, I'm trying to see how long I can go without interrupting you.
So this is the third time we've tried to do this. The first time I really fucked up the recording. I only recorded his and not mine.
Which I was fine with.
Which he was encouraging us to put out. And then last weekend, we actually were seeing the Dollop live, so I was staying with Kevin in his apartment in the city. And, I've heard a lot from you guys like, oh, Jess, you should do drinking podcasts more. And I was like, give the people what they want. And that's a tricky needle to thread is get a little bit drunk to record. We got 40 minutes into it and I fell right asleep.
Yeah, it was she at one point said, Kevin, I'm going to lay down.
I really wanted to finish it, and I listened to part of it, and it's not... You claim you weren't reading words necessarily.
What? Did you just say?
That you were kind of slurring.
Oh, yeah. My enunciation is at times trying anyway, so...
Yeah. Kevin came out to the suburbs. It's Saturday night. We're at my house. I just got a dog today, which is how I lured Kevin out here for the third time to record this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kevin.
Yes.
What are you going to be telling us about today?
In the vein of the Dollop, I'm going to read to you a not as well researched story about...
Or nearly as funny.
No, well, I'm not. My job is not to be funny. That is your job. About the Satanic Panic that struck in the 1980s. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about that for a little bit. Mm-hmm. All right?
Is there any other prefacing you have to do? Is there any other plugging you have to do before we just jump right into your research?
Do you want me to... I'm going to do that later, I suppose.
Okay. If they make it through this dumb podcast, the reward is your plugs.
Yeah, 0% chance. So November 1st, 1980.
Woo!
Author Michelle Smith and psychiatrist Lawrence Pazder published Michelle Remembers, an autobiography. Pazder was Smith's psychiatrist and was treating her for depression after a miscarriage.
Yeah.
So, already starting off with a lot of fun. During their sessions together, Michelle Smith revealed that she had something important to tell him, but could not remember what it was. In subsequent sessions, Smith began screaming for 25 minutes nonstop and speaking in the voice of a 5-year-old.
Do we know how old this woman is?
She is older than 5.
That's one of those things that I find deeply creepy is like child's voices coming out of non-child. Remember the Subway commercials a couple of years ago?
No.
It doesn't matter. Keep
Okay.
going.
For over a year after that, the two used hypnosis to recover lost memories. All these memories revolved around Smith's mother's involvement with satanic rituals in the 1950s.
Okay, yeah, no, that's...
The book details her experiences growing up with her mom in the 1950s, which the satanic rituals included torture, being locked in cages.
I'm sorry, the mom or the kiddo?
The kiddo was locked in cages.
Oof, yeah.
Sexual abuse. The kid, Michelle Smith, at the time, who was a kid, had been smeared with blood of people and babies who she had just witnessed being murdered. Yes.
People and babies?
Yeah. Very specifically, people and babies that were murdered in front of Michelle Smith, and then blood was smeared all over
Where did
them.
this take place?
The 1950s.
No, physically? Not in linear time? Like, did this happen in her basement, or was it in, like, a rec center?
Is it the local Y? I don't remember. I think it took place, like, in my mind's eye, it takes place in, like, a cave somewhere, but I don't think that's accurate.
That's accurate. But okay, continue. Let's all imagine in a cave together.
So anyways, but like a cavernous cave, not just a regular.
Oh, sure.
Being smeared with the blood of people and babies who she witnessed being murdered.
That's what I said.
The last ritual described was an 81-day summoning of the devil. It took 81 days to get the devil.
81 days?
Straight.
That's like 2.5 months.
Yeah.
That's like your summer break.
Yeah.
Is that a
I know. I do know what I'm doing this summer, though.
Summoning the devil?
Can't be that hard.
What? That's the shit that really like when they say 81 days.
Yeah.
Is that like straight, or is that like 9 to 5 and then you go home at night?
I wasn't there. I can't really speak to it.
You weren't,
but
Kevin. What's the
I
point of the
imagine
story?
it was 81
We do
days.
only first person narratives.
Well, I mean, if you have to summon the devil, I don't think that's a 9 to 5er. I think that's something that's a more of a flex.
24/6?
Yeah, more of a flex hour type of thing. You know.
But it has to be like tag out, right? Like 3 8-hour shifts a day.
I think there are other people
Am I
involved.
focusing on the right thing?
Yeah, I think there are other people involved besides the mom and the daughter.
No, I understand that. Okay, just keep going. This is
Okay. So the 81-day summoning. Jesus, Mary, and the Archangel Michael.
Joseph.
Jesus, Mary,
And
and
Joseph.
the Archangel Michael.
Kevin, I know nothing about Christianity.
Yeah.
The one thing I know is Jesus, Mary, and
Joseph is dead, right? But Jesus and Mary, and then the Archangel Michael took over
What
for
did he do?
Joseph. Well, they intervened
Just keep going.
and removed Smith's scars that she had received during the rituals, as well as removing her memories, quote, until the right time, close quote.
Well, that's handy.
The media ate it up, and Smith appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show in 1989.
That was like peak Oprah Winfrey.
Peak Oprah Winfrey.
Her biggest hair.
Also...
So she went on saying, like, I have these recovered memories of this satanic ritual.
Yeah.
Was the mother still around to corroborate or deny anything?
Not that she never pops up in the story, I will say that.
Well, that's handy.
So, very handy. And also, the Michelle Smith and Lawrence Pastor, her psychiatrist, eventually got married.
Whoa!
What? Is that not good?
That made me deeply uncomfortable.
For the third time. Around the same time in Manhattan Beach, California, sexual...
I will say, if you're in therapy with somebody and they still want to marry you, like, maybe that's a good
That's true.
connection. Because I'm in therapy and my therapist has heard some shit.
Yeah.
And she's probably like, all right, just stay in that side of the room, buddy.
I don't even have a beer with you. Around the same time...
She didn't text me this week to see if I was doing okay because I had a rough session.
Around the same time in Manhattan Beach, California, sexual abuse charges were filed against the McMartin Preschool, a family-run operation.
Where was this?
Manhattan Beach, California.
Okay. I understand why I didn't hear that because those words don't mean anything to me together. Manhattan Beach in California. Let's not. We're from the Midwest. We don't know anything.
It's by an
I bet it's on the
ocean.
coast.
Judy Johnson, mother of a child who attended the school, claimed her son had been sodomized by not only her estranged husband, but also Ray Bucky. And Ray Bucky was working at the
Ray Bucky's
preschool.
the guy from Captain America.
No, that's Bucky Barnes. Reports vary as to whether Johnson's son confirmed any of the abuse. Johnson, the mother, however, continued to make accusations, including bestiality.
Wait. Against whom? Bucky Barnes?
Yeah. Or against the establishment, I guess. But
Man.
But yeah. And bestiality. Ray's mother, who was also working at
Ray's
the preschool.
Bucky Barnes?
Ray's Bucky Barnes. Ray's mother had drilled holes into the children's arms. And Ray was at one point flying in the air. Which one do you want to talk about?
I'm so glad you didn't stop because I got alarmed at the wrong thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
So Bucky Barnes is flying in the air, and this is witnessed by the kiddos?
Kiddos, yeah. Yes, by the kids. And also the kids...
Wait, I feel like drilling holes in their arm... Okay, not that I think the flying thing's realistic. Let's make that very clear.
Oh, I disagree, but go on.
But I feel like if a hole was drilled in my arm...
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, like, you would be able to tell physically by looking at my arm.
Maybe it was another kid. I don't know. You don't know. We weren't there. All of this is real. Johnson was later diagnosed, the mother was later diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and died in 1986 of complications related to chronic alcoholism before the hearing had finished. So she died before seeing this all the way through. And
she was so mentally ill. You said schizophrenia?
Schizophrenia. Paranoid schizophrenia.
Oh, sweetie.
Yeah, so it's possible
that maybe she wasn't super reliable as a witness?
Yeah. The children, there were multiple children interviewed from the school, and by 1984 it was claimed that 360 children had been abused.
360?
Children been abused.
At the school? How big was the school?
It was actually 363 kids. Only 3 kids got away. However, due to the interview techniques used, like leading questions and kids who always want to agree with what parents say.
Kids are the best yes-anders.
It's believed that, turning the page, many were...
We made it to page 2?
Yeah, we made it to page 2. Many were cases of false memory syndrome.
Like, suggested?
Yeah, basically. So, like...
Man, the thing about how fallible human memory is really... hard to deal with sometimes because the more we learn, the more we realize like memory is not reliable.
Yeah,
but it's all you have. Also,
it's very malleable. Like we can be convinced of anything.
Yeah.
So
and like really feel like you remembered it.
Yeah, and like we're adults, we can be convinced. Imagine how kids must feel when they don't even.
So dumb.
So dumb. Visual evidence was also later shown to be medically unsupported. So there were like
they have a bruise on their arm, and they're like, "Oh, it's Satan." It's like, no,
basically.
kids fall all of the time.
Right.
I've had a puppy for an hour, and she's fallen like 7 times.
She can't get on a couch.
She's so cute.
Amongst the accounts of the children,
I'm gonna keep interjecting.
Were reportings of traveling in hot air balloons and underground tunnels.
Those are the opposite things.
Even more, well, not at the same time. Even more strangely, Chuck Norris was identified as one of the abusers. And satanic ritual abuse, similar to that of Michelle Remembers, the autobiography, were also claimed. So they said that Chuck Norris abused them.
My husband just came into the kitchen for another beer. He's puppy sitting our puppy. Are you watching TV over there, sweetie? You're just sitting and listening? Say hi to everybody, Mikey. I talk about you a lot.
Hi.
That's my husband. He's good people. Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.
He's cheersing.
Despite both cases eventually shown to be fabricated, which, duh.
From whole cloth, right?
What?
From whole cloth, right?
Yeah, none of it is.
How does that shit get started, though?
Are you
going to tell me?
Yeah, kind of. And with the help of several similar cases throughout the United States, satanic ritual abuse began to sweep the nation. Satanic ritual abuse, which was later called Satanic Panic, so catchy,
It rhymes.
was another form of moral panic that swept the United States and later, eventually, the world. Mostly English-speaking world, like Australia and England had to get in on that action.
Name 2 other English-speaking countries.
New Zealand and
Mike
Canada.
is my husband. You're Kevin. You're my brother.
I can go on. New Zealand and Canada. Those 2 other English-speaking nations. You want more?
Yeah.
Scotland.
Scotland.
Ireland. North Ireland. Wales.
To be fair, those are... You can't whisper on a podcast.
Just said fuck you to my sister, who tried to show me up. While the seed of Satanism was laid in the late 1960s with the boom of flower power and the rise of the popularity of the Church of Satan.
Ooh. Wait. Backpedal quickly.
Yeah. So the Satanism sort
How
of...
are Satanists and hippies linked?
hippieism is morally
Bankrupt.
not Christian.
Oh, okay. I think you found the button.
Basically, how dare they
Not be Christian for a second.
not wear bras or whatever. And so, and Church of Satan started coming up in about the 1960s too. I can't remember what the guy's name was, but he was a very interesting person.
Aleister Crowley.
That is his name, yes. A very interesting person. The Church of Satan was led by occultist Anton LaVey. I do know his name. I wrote it. Anton LaVey.
A different person?
Aleister Crowley and Anton LaVey, I think, knew one another too. But Crowley was.
They'll tell us. If we got this wrong, they won't hesitate for a second to tell
Crowley
us.
was involved with the JPL, right? Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Wasn't that Crowley?
Yes. Was that a Dollop, actually?
Yeah, it was.
Guys,
That's how I know all of
so
it.
good.
Moral panics continue to pop up, generally driven by the media and unfounded claims.
Well, but I mean, this is the same kind of garbage that happened in like the Salem witch trials, right? Like, it's just god damn it, I keep getting. Is it because I've heard this twice and was drunk both times?
Salem witch trials, I wrote down and by hand. I added that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
It's probably because I said it the first time we talked.
Probably most recent examples include rainbow parties. Do you remember rainbow parties? We talked about this, so you should remember rainbow parties.
It's this thing where you wear lipstick and blowjobs.
Yeah, I was one of 2 things. I don't remember which one it was.
Oh yeah, we've had. Okay, so I know rainbow parties because they went on Oprah, who is like my news source up until 2010 or whenever.
What happened then?
She went off the air.
Really?
Yeah. So I remember rainbow parties being like a moral panic of teenage girls were putting on different colored lipsticks.
Yeah.
And like
going around giving like at parties
giving
blowjobs.
BJs, and then like the guys would have
rainbow colored dicks,
which I feel like is just a massive misunderstanding of like how a blowjob works. I wish I didn't say that to you. Go ahead, keep going.
Also,
what did you think a rainbow party was?
It was bracelets, different colored bracelets, signifying that girls were down for different things. Like brown meant, I think, anal or something like that.
Oh God. Oh no! Stop! Like I hated every moment of that.
I think yellow meant that they like to get pissed on. Also, that does borrow a little bit from the handkerchiefs in gay communities in the 1960s, which is a whole other episode.
Listen, I don't want to yuck anybody else's yum, but like I don't need a bracelet for that.
Overdosing on water. Oh, I skipped one. Do you remember vodka tampons?
Yes,
that's a good one. Overdosing on water. That was a big one when I was in high school.
Wait, I thought that happened IRL, or am I just?
Yeah, but then it was like, oh my god, all these don't let your kids go to the water fountain for too long because they're going to try to overhydrate themselves.
Wait, you remember that happening?
I remember it being a thing that people were worried about.
Like sincerely worried, or like?
Don't know. I also remember
just
hearing
literally if you drink too much water, your
body just shuts down because it's like overhydrated or whatever.
Sure. I mean that sounds scientific.
Sure. And many others. Most recently, Zika and Ebola grabbed the nation's interest despite very few actual cases being found within the United States.
Well, I think that is
driven almost exclusively by the media because they just need something to talk about.
Yeah, and I think that is definitely something worth talking about when people are freaking the fuck out about Ebola, but it's like, well, people are dying of like real things.
Yeah. But
more frequent. Not that Ebola isn't real. I'm sorry, that was a terrible way to phrase that. But like, there are more clear and present dangers.
So you're on record in saying that nobody cares about the people who die from Ebola?
I am. This is Jessica. It's me, Jessica.
What day is it?
I don't know. 29th.
By the late 1970s and early 80s, occultism and Satanism had begun to permeate the American culture. In 1981, Rana Jaffe wrote Mazes and Monsters.
Okay.
Inspired by a real-life 1979 disappearance of a University of Michigan undergrad, James Dallas Egbert. James Dallas Egbert was a socially awkward kid who
Kev.
had occasionally played Dungeons and Dragons, yes.
You know the thing when you like watch something when you're pretty drunk, and then you're like, oh, I don't remember anything, and then you watch it again, you're like, oh, this sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with that right now.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So James Dallas
this
Egbert,
kiddo played Dungeons and Dragons.
yeah, okay, like once, like literally played Dungeons and Dragons. Let's say like less than a dozen times, probably.
Okay.
But like, he was socially awkward. He had like anxiety and stuff like that.
We can't relate to that.
No, Egbert was socially awkward. Disappeared in August, so he disappeared early in the school year. The campus police were unable to find him, which led to his father hiring a private investigator, William Deere. William Deere.
Sorry,
Yes.
DEER or DEA?
Yeah,
I
good
don't know
question.
why that was important. Felt important at the
If you
time.
want to look it up later.
I have some regrets.
William Deere. Deere found Egbert in steam tunnels under campus buildings and publicly posited that Egbert had been trying to live out his Dungeons and Dragons fantasies. Deere later admitted that his claim was to help the Egberts save face because the probable reason for James to be in those tunnels was to find a secluded spot for self-harm. So in Deere's eyes,
Oh no!
being involved with Satanism and Dungeons and Dragons is less bad than having mental health issues. Less bad.
Oh no!
Yeah, pretty messed up. This is also the reason why I was never allowed to play Dungeons and Dragons growing up, and supposedly why the house behind our house burned down when we were growing up.
All right. Okay. Back up really quick. First of all, I just need to make it clear, like, fuck that guy. Like, it's such a good reason why mental health is a thing that, like, needs to be addressed.
Right.
So this kid probably killed himself, right? Is
Is
that what they...
I don't think
Or do they know?
he eventually... I don't think he killed himself, no. He suffered from mental health problems.
Well,
I think he...
not that anybody at this table can relate to...
Nope.
No. Okay, really quick. Let's just backpedal a little bit. You wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons?
It sounded like I still do. It sounds like a thing that would be kind of fun.
I mean, it definitely sounds fun in theory.
Right. In practice.
And we both listen. I listen to the Adventure Zone.
started.
We both watched Dan Harmon's thing.
Harmon Quest, I think it's called.
Harmon Quest.
It's really
on
good. CISO.
It's very. It feels like it would be very fun to do, and we both watched Stranger Things. Anyway, I don't know. God, I need to stop drinking before these. Did you actively want to do it and Mom said no?
No, I just think it was something that I was like avoided entirely because it was like a bad thing.
So it wasn't like Mom and Dad were like, no, you're not allowed to do this.
It was not a thing that we ever thought about doing. My friends never thought about doing, even though that was totally the type of thing we should have been doing.
You guys were jocks.
No.
You're a jock in high
middle
school.
I'm talking about middle school.
Yeah.
Also, the reason that the house behind us burned down.
Yeah, let's go to that. So
I remember it being linked to some kind of.
I don't remember the house
thing.
behind us burning down.
It was. I barely remember it. I remember the new house being built more so than the house behind it.
Okay,
down.
so I was.
But I do remember hearing that it was somehow related to Dungeons and Dragons or whatever.
Do you have any more details?
It was behind us when we were growing up.
I still know the girl who lives back there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's a huge Republican.
Of course. Mazes and Monsters was quickly written based on that story. So they took the story about So the author, I sort of wrote this a little bit backwards, but Rana Jaffe wrote Mazes and Monsters based on the story.
This guy's story.
Based on that guy's story, or basically based on William Deere's accounting of the story. And so Mazes and Monsters was written, and then immediately caught the attention of a CBS TV producer who uses it as source material for a made-for-TV movie using the same name, starring America's Dad, Tom Hanks. Yeah. So that was Tom Hanks' first big role, was in a made-for-TV movie called
Mazes and Monsters.
Yeah.
Is it about a kid that kills them? Like, what's the plot?
I think Tom Hanks is... the plot is roughly Tom Hanks getting...
Satanized.
Satanized, yeah, essentially. like kind of getting possessed because he was playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yikes!
Right?
Yikes!
That's fun. So, hang on, we got it here. While Satan, I wrote this so long ago, I forgot what I wrote. This is a surprise.
Are you about to laugh at your own joke?
No, while Satanism wasn't directly to blame for the character's mental downfall, the story serves as an inspiration for Reverend James R. Cotter to make that very jump. Cotter claimed that the magic used in-game by characters was the same magic used by Satanists. From there, he compared lines from the Monster Manual, which is the Dungeons and Dragons Handbook, to Scripture, and concluded his sermon by stating that there is, quote, a warning from Peter telling us to be on the alert for a roaring lion, but at times Satan disguises himself and becomes a cute, cuddly kitten.
Papa?
That's what he had done in the game Dungeons and Dragons.
So Dungeons and Dragons is a kitten?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's Satan dressed up as a kitten to get them kitties.
What the fuck is going on with pastors all of the time? Oh, you switched beers. Did you switch beers?
Back up.
Back up here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is just like the Harry Potter garbage.
See? Harry Potter. Yeah, it's
my drunk mind is starting to put itself back together.
We never got this far, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Doesn't it feel like anything in pop culture that might divert attention away from like being really focused on the church is like? Did I do it again?
Nope. But
Just
keep that idea.
Why don't you tell me when to talk?
No, you're doing great.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're very welcome. The sermon spurred.
Well, actually,
Albert James Dager or Dadger of Media GER of Media Spotlight. Media Spotlight is the quotes first ministry on a national scale to specifically address the ungodly nature of the secular media, particularly in motion pictures, television, toys, games, and a myriad of other problems that contribute to Christians living no differently than the rest of the world. That is all, close quote, that's all of this from ear to here. All of that is
how they need to tighten that up.
That's how they describe themselves. It doesn't fit on a business card.
No, it's not very punchy, is it? It doesn't even rhyme.
No, and so the Media Spotlight, who limited. Okay, Media Spotlight is the first ministry. First ministry on a national scale.
Sure, a lot of qualifications already.
Specifically address the
qualifiers, not qualifications.
Specifically address the ungodly nature of the secular media, particularly in motion pictures, television, toys, games, and a myriad of other problems that contribute to Christians living no differently than the rest of the world.
Can I tell you the thing that annoys me about that most?
Differently? Oh, a myriad of other things? Why not? We're already that far, just list the rest of them?
No, you don't say a myriad of. It's myriad other things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mikey just knew that I was about to be annoyed by that. He called from the living room. Yeah, I don't know what. I know, again, I always focus on the wrong...
That's, you'd be surprised how
Mikey,
often it
don't talk
doesn't
shit
come
on my podcast.
That cackle was Jessica's husband.
He married me. He knows what he got into. No, that's just like a descriptor, right? That wasn't like their tagline.
No, yeah, that's just how they describe themselves. Like, I imagine that's like their thesis
they just need to punch it up like a little bit because there's a lot of redundancies. Because I feel like you don't have to say media and then be like movies, TV.
Well, but they're saying they're focusing in on motion pictures,
as opposed to what other media?
News, papers, comic books.
Did you mean news, papers, or newspapers?
No, I thought newspapers might be a better answer.
Okay, keep going.
They concluded, quote, if you are caught up in anything akin to fantasy role-playing games, I beg you to burn the abominable thing.
Oh.
So, very much against Dungeons and Dragons.
So you know how, okay, quick sidebar, you know how J.K. Rowling is amazing at Twitter?
Uh-huh. Who'd she clap back at?
This is not new, but have you heard the thing where she was talking shit about Trump because she's a literal genius.
Yeah.
And somebody tweeted at her like, "Oh, I can't believe you're so disrespectful of our president. I'm gonna burn your book." And she said something to the effect of like, "I already have the money. Like, do you need a match?" Oh, she's the best of us.
She came after, oh God, I can't remember his name, but he took over for Larry King. He was at Weasley.
Oh, that British guy?
Yeah, she came after him pretty great. Look that up, guys. I can't remember what it was.
I'm doing it. Vamp, Kevin.
Vamp or Reed?
Yeah, that's fine.
Still,
Pierce Morgan. I didn't even look it up.
Still, the RPG panic was only amongst the church-going circles.
RPG is role-playing games.
Role-playing game panic.
For you uninitiated nerds.
For you non-nerds out there. Context clues, Michael. It was only amongst the church-going circles.
This is why I don't record in my house.
Until the New York Times printed about a parental outrage in a Utah high school over the inclusion of role-playing games into its after-school programming.
The horror.
After a PTA ruling was overturned, and the RPG club was banned due to a large influx of people expressly against the club, but not affiliated with the school at all. So a bunch of people came into a PTA meeting and said, "We don't want this in the school." It probably didn't say our school, it probably said the school because it's not their school.
Our local school?
And so now then RPGs got banned, and the New York Times was like, "Hey, check out this weird stuff going on in Utah." Anyway, one of the protesters.
Doesn't it blow your mind when people like get their hackles up about?
Yeah.
Like the shit that years.
You mean like Kylo Ren's scar? You know what this?
No.
Kylo Ren has a scar that's in a different spot in the next movie, and people are outraged.
Okay, fair. Wasn't specifically what I was gonna bring up, but that's fair. Let's just move on with our lives.
Okay. One of the protesters was Norman Spring, a Christian minister.
Hey, Kev.
Who,
I
yes,
feel like we're doing a really good job of this.
probably. I'm trying to stay on track. One of the protesters was Norman Spring, a Christian minister who, in the New York Times article, was quoted as saying, "Oh, it's very anti-religious. It's Dungeons and Dragons. It's very anti-religious. I have studied witchcraft and demonology for some years, and I've taught against witchcraft. The books themselves have been taken from mythology and from witchcraft, and they are filled with demonology, filled with pictures and, turning the page, symbols that you could find in any basic witchcraft book and use the same terminology. These books are filled with things that are not fantasy, but are actual in the real demon world, and can be very dangerous for anyone involved in the game because it leaves them so open to satanic spirits." That's quoted from a New York Times article.
I just don't get it. I just don't.
Why all these people are so long-winded?
First of all, they all need an editor.
Yeah, they gotta punch this up.
But second of all, like, it will never stop blowing my mind how much people care about other people's business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that really gets me every time. Of like, obviously, hot take, I don't believe there's a God. You heard it here first, folks. But like,
That can't have been the first time they heard you say that.
yeah, no, the first time. I've been super ambiguous. I like to give, it doesn't matter. But like, I'm not religious and I don't like religion, but if somebody wants to spend their Sundays or whatever in their, that's fine. Like, you do you.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that fucking kills me is like, if somebody's doing something different in their own home, whether that's like
Well,
being anti-gay or
I
anti...
real quick, just want to push back on that a little bit, is
Sure.
that the role-playing game was in a school.
It's the third time
The game also became a scapegoat for Patricia Pulling, a Virginia mother.
I feel like a lot of alliterative names we've heard tonight. There's a Judy...
You're just thinking
Jetson?
of Dungeons and Dragons a lot.
No, there's like
And
a Judy
also Mazes and
Jameson.
Monsters.
Judy Jetson. Judy...
There was not. That is from the
I
Jetsons.
swear to fucking God, they're your
The
first...
game also became a scapegoat for Patricia Pulling, a Virginian mother. You know why, though?
Why?
They're all alliterative. Stan Lee wrote this.
Take that, Stanley.
Whose son committed,
We got you. You burnt.
son committed suicide after being cursed in a
Oh,
game.
why did you make me say shitty things before you just told me a son committed suicide? Keep going.
I mean, it's not like you haven't heard this before. However, the child's friends...
To be fair, by this time, the first 2 times I was drunk.
No, we weren't that drunk the first time. However, the child's friends had no memory of such a curse ever taking place.
Oh, you don't fucking say.
Despite this, she was fast in her belief and created BADD, B-A-D-D, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, but I think they came up with bad and worked backwards.
You don't fucking say.
I think so.
Bothered about Dungeons and Dragons.
Which technically should either be BDD or BDAD, B-A-D-A-D, Badada.
Badada.
Because
I like Badada 1,000.
Because if we're gonna include about, then we also need to include and, I think, or neither.
Far be it for me to accuse somebody of being pedantic.
Yeah, that's true.
Bothered about you're bothered by a thing.
Yep, that's true. Bothered about Dungeons and Dragons, petitioned the FTC to put
I'm sorry.
the Fair Trade Commission, I think. To
Why
put a
do you guys?
label
They're gonna
on.
They're gonna tweet at me because they don't know your handle.
That's fine.
Are you on Twitter?
Yeah. Every year I tweet the Nathan's hot dog eating competition.
You live tweet it?
I live tweet the Nathan's
Is it-
hot dog eating competition.
That's
I think I may have missed it last year, but the year before was a lot of
oh
fun.
my
Yeah.
god, the world is wanting.
One guy, the first time I did it, a guy, his claim to fame was he was the salmon eating champion.
Oh no!
And he wasn't a bear, and that's why I was so confused.
Dumbest shit I've ever made. Look at my dog's looking at me.
She's such a cutie.
She is cute.
So anyway, the bothered about Dungeons and Dragons lobbied the FTC to put a label on all Dungeons and Dragons boxes that warned the game may cause suicide.
May cause
Yeah. Warning: game may cause suicide.
cause I wouldn't say is the word I would use when saying suicide.
What would you use?
Oh, well, I wouldn't use any words.
Game is suicide. Is that what you're
also,
saying?
No, I don't know. But also, if it's loud in the background, it is like storming out here tonight. So I'm sorry if there's. I'm not that sorry.
Should have built an ark. All right. Anyway, the FTC sent the petition.
Boo!
Sent the petition onto the Computer Consumer Product Safety Commission, who declined.
Oh,
Yeah.
hard pass from them.
Yeah, the FTC was like, "Hey, you guys want to deal with
Say
this?"
may cause
suicide.
I'm so bothered by that turn of phrase.
The piece, polling was also appeared on 60 Minutes. The piece claimed that there have been many suicides and murders, the motives of which were blamed on Dungeons and Dragons by police. None of that was true.
That's the thing that fucking drives me crazy. Is like you could just say a thing.
Yeah.
Why don't I lie more on this podcast?
I'm a millionaire. Does that make that true?
No, that was not compelling and not funny and
Somebody laughed at that.
desperately not true.
Eventually, the game lost popularity and fell out of the zeitgeist, largely due to bad and its ilk.
Two nerds
Well,
and bullies
yeah.
and swirlies.
Oh boy. D&D, however,
Bullied as a kid?
no, I was a bully. D&D, no, that's not true. D&D was not the only piece of culture that Satanic Panic affected. The PSAs at the end of most 1980s Saturday cartoons, including He-Man and G.I. Joes, were in response to some fundamentalists.
And knowing is half the battle.
Some fundamentalists accusing the programming of spreading the word of Satan and his teachings.
What does that mean?
Despite the cartoons being practically devoid of any moral ambiguity. So He-Man is good.
Devoid of moral ambiguity?
There's nothing morally ambiguous about it at all.
Oh, okay. It's just very black and white.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay.
G.I. Joe's good. Cobra's bad.
Yeah.
He-Man is good. Skeletor is bad.
So good pull.
Yep. Also, the other guys were bad too.
Do you remember She-Ra?
Mm-hmm, sure. There was a little guy that was always in the...
I just remember her horse Swiftwind, who I really liked.
There was a little guy, and I remember at the end of all the shows, he'd be like, hey, did you see me in the background? And then they show where he was in the background in one scene. He was like, oh, where's Waldo? I think.
Is it possible that we as a family had one VHS tape of He-Man?
No, I think that's the thing. Hey, listeners, please make sure that you tell my sister.
They've turned this off.
Make sure you tell my sister what that guy's name was, the end of She-Ra, and...
Oh, it's the end of She-Ra specifically?
Yeah, just She-Ra, I think.
Steady Swiftwind, that's what I remember her saying.
That voice?
Probably.
Okay.
Well, I mean, when you're 6, every voice sounds like this.
Yeah, that's true.
Should I do voiceover work?
Yeah, definitely.
This is... keep going.
Ground control.
Bluemke.
What?
In every episode.
What?
Bluemke.
Lukey?
And he hid in every episode.
Like Bluemke?
Lukey hidden every
Are
episode.
you just thinking of our last name Bluemke, Mikey? My husband's helping. He said Lukey is he's a dwarf?
No, he's like a little colored, fuzzy character, furry character.
I don't think you can say colored anymore, Mikey.
Boy.
Mikey's flicking me off.
Books like Turmoil in the Toy Box and Saturday Morning Mind... Hold on, will you let me get through the sentence, please? Books like Turmoil in the Toy Box and Saturday Morning Mind Control, both by Phil Phillips, take a close look at much of the programming at the time and concluded that the world building within them was clearly anti-Christian, and cited specifically, quote, Masters of the Universe, close quote.
So any world building, universe building is anti-Christian?
Decidedly anti-Christian, because it's not reinforcing the beliefs of Christianity.
How much time do people have on their hands?
Well, Phil Phillips has a lot of it, evidently. He wrote 2 books.
There's no fucking way that's his real name.
It's
Philip Phillips?
Mm-hmm. Like the band. Wasn't there a band called Philip Phillips or something like that?
Mikey,
What?
is there a band called Philip Phillips?
I might be thinking of Wilson.
Phillips.
Nope.
I might be thinking of Wilson Phillips. This growing uncertainty.
Somebody's gonna run until I say goodbye.
This growing
Should I say
concern,
one
of
podcast?
course, made the news, as well as getting the attention of the U.S. government, which produced several studies.
Because the the U.S. government had nothing to do in the 80s.
No, they were too busy
Go ahead.
putting all the people of color in jail.
Hot take.
The growing concern, U.S. government. The U.S. government produced several studies on the negative effects of on TV on American children. They all concluded that TV was the cause of children becoming more violent, and that if children continue to watch the violent programming found on their television...
Violent like Masters of the Universe?
No, like,
Or
remember how
like-
all those people in G.I. Joe never died? Very violent. Sad. Watch the violent programming
Sad.
found on their televisions, the violence trend would continue to rise in the United States. So, basically, because fundamentalism, we think television is bad for kids.
Well, and also, they were super right because violent crime is way up. No, I'm sorry. Wait, this is the most peaceful time in all of human history.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's my bad. Even though G.I. Joe and Masters of the Universe exist. So this is less about, like, the Satanic Panic. Do you think this is just when the Christian right was taking sort of a moral stronghold? Stronghold? Is that an expression?
Sure.
But, like, this is when the Christian right was sort of, like, spreading their wings and trying to, like, influence as much as possible.
Yeah.
I don't fucking get it. Like, your kids do what your kids do. I don't know. I don't like it at all. Go ahead.
Okay. In 1988, Geraldo Rivera got into the action by hosting a very special episode of his self-titled show. Devil Worship, Exposing Satan's Underground, featured a plethora of guests from police officers to the New York Archdiocese to Ozzy Osbourne to weigh in The weigh in on the influence of Satan over American culture. This
What
was
did Ozzy Osbourne have to say?
he was
'Cause I don't
very
wanna-
pro Satan.
Spoiler alert, he's not American.
Well, that's a good point, actually. I don't know why he was there.
What?
I said I don't know why he was there.
I
Probably
think
because
I don't know that he was there. So like, you,
No, I wrote it down. He's definitely there.
it's canon.
Oh, hang on, it gets better. So this is actually right after the Al Capone's vault thing that Geraldo Rivera did.
Oh, bless his heart.
Yeah, so like he was like, oh, all I have to do is be sensational.
Sure.
And so then he just really took that idea around.
Really quick, did I ever tell you about whenever I was abroad, people would always ask me about gangsters?
Yeah, I got that a lot too, actually.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the one guy I met from Liverpool, I asked him if he knew any of the Beatles, so I guess it does go both ways.
That's pretty good. When I was in Greece when I was like 20, this very lovely woman had a little shop and she made original paintings. And at the time I had like super auburn hair and she thought I was Irish, which I got a lot. Actually in Australia, people always thought I was Irish because they say my R's. And apparently only Americans and Irish say our R's. But anyway, this lovely woman, I bought a few little paintings of various Greek. What's the word?
I have no idea.
No. It's just like places. How am I doing?
You couldn't think of places?
No, that's not what I was trying to say.
Boy, do you edit any of these? 'Cause
Never.
You ought to.
But anyway, so she was very kind and she gave me a free portrait of Christ because I bought so much from her. Actually, you know that? Do you remember when I gave you that Apollo statue?
Yeah.
That's from that woman.
Okay.
When I went there, I bought 2 statues, Apollo and Artemis, who are the sun and the moon, and I gave one to my brother because I am an excellent gift giver. Anyway, the point of all this is to say that she.
I have a hard out of eventually, so let's make sure that.
But she asked where I was from, and I said Chicago, and she spoke very little English, and she said, oh, gangsters. I was like, that's fine.
I mean, that's what we're known for.
To this woman in Greece.
To all women in Greece. I'll go so far as to say that.
Hot take.
All women in Greece
Hot take from Kevin
only
Bluemke.
know Chicago as having gangsters. Anyway, Geraldo Rivera accused Ozzy Osbourne of purposefully creating music to spread the word of the devil to susceptible youths.
Caught him.
Got him. This wasn't the first time a musician was accused of dabbling in sordid affairs.
You don't say.
Going as far back to the beginning of music. But apparently I just want in that time in 1985, Tipper Gore went on the offensive on what she called porn rock. That's a quote. Creating the porn rock. Creating the Filthy 15. A list of songs she found to be morally objectionable. The list's artists was wide-ranging from Judas Priest to Prince to Madonna and Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper?
Yeah.
What did she ever do to anybody?
She wrote a song about masturbating.
Good for her.
She-Bop, I believe it's called. She-Bop. Thank you. Gore categorized them.
Mikey, do you just want to come hang out in here? Okay.
Gore categorized them as being profane, into the occult, about drugs and alcohol, or violent.
No, yeah, you got it.
Gore and other wives
Is
of
Tipper
congressmen.
short for something?
Yeah, Tipper, Canoe, and Tyler too.
Keep going, I hate you.
Gore
That's the last
categorized
episode you're ever
them
gonna do.
as being either read that already. Gore and other wives of congressmen went as far as to hold an official hearing on the Senate floor after creating the Parent Music Resource Center, or PMRC.
Hey, Kev.
Yeah.
Remember Bad? Bothered by Dungeons and Dragons.
About Dungeons and Dragons.
See, I couldn't even say it in jest because it's not an expression. Keep going.
In attendance at the hearing was Frank Zappa, Dee Snider of Twisted Sister, and Bob Denver, all of whom spoke out.
Bob Denver?
Bob Denver. Rocky Mountain High was about getting high. Jessica, didn't you know that? That's about drugs. That's one of the ones that she was against.
Wait, is Rocky Mountain High really about getting high?
I don't think so, no.
He just says the word high.
Remember, guys, at my sister as to whether or not Rocky Mountain High is about getting high.
It's fine. I wasn't smart enough to make my Twitter handle my name, so I'm pretty hard to find.
Mine's private.
Oh, Kevin, guess what's about to happen?
All of whom spoke out against being labeled as filthy or dangerous and spoke directly to their constitutional rights of freedom of speech. What's going to happen?
I'm almost about to have more followers than I am following. It's gonna be a big day.
You know how you can quicken that?
No, I understand how I could quicken it. I hope you guys can hear this wine pouring into my glass. I know I can quicken. I'm not going to hasten it though. I just want it to be a natural thing. Hemant has like 11,000. I'm crowning over like 310. So we're the same amount of famous. He's also verified. He said I should try to get verified. I was like, I feel like you need to have more than.
I'm verified.
You're not.
Could be. The hearing got away for the PMRC, who anticipated 3 of the 4 artists to be anything but well-spoken and thoughtful, and rather than getting the Filthy 15 band and other sex rock band from the airwaves, had to settle with the now well-known explicit content warning sticker found on questionable albums. I remember...
Thank fucking God. Thank God.
I remember at one of my friend's birthday parties, he got Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. And this was right when the label came out, the
His initials JH.
And he was like secretly trying to like get the sticker off, so his mom didn't know there was a.
Stop it! Really?
Yeah, I don't think she cared, but like it was a thing.
Was it a physical sticker? I thought it was.
Yeah, for a while
onto
for a while it was a physical sticker, and then it turned into explicit, like a printed on thing.
Yeah, that was definitely. You know what? That's definitely a thing that really weighed hard on people.
I feel like my life is better knowing what songs have.
You know what, Kevin? I think so too.
Thank you.
And I also think you're really brave.
I know, I'm very brave. It's very difficult to be a white male in this world.
Ugh, the bravest.
Thank you.
Continue.
Still, Satanic Panic wasn't done with music. The bands AC/DC and Kiss were both accused of being veiled references to Satan.
Oh, okay. So when you first told me you were going to talk about Satanic Panic,
Yeah.
this is what I remember because I watched VH1 a lot in the 90s. And this is when they're on trial, and it was about like if you play their records backward, they tell you. See, that's what I thought the Satanic Panic was, which is if that was standalone is batshit crazy,
Right, but all this other stuff happened too. Anyway, AC/DC stood for Antichrist Devil Child,
or Akadaka if you're from Australia.
Akadaka. And
That's right,
Kiss,
my friends. I like Australians. Can I come hang out with you?
And Kiss was Knights in Satan's Service. That's right.
That's legit.
No.
No, it's not.
Neither one of those things are real. They're just...
Wait. I thought Knights in Satan's Service was like...
No, this is the thing.
No shit.
That's shit.
What, is KISS an acronym, or is it just the word KISS?
KISS stands for Kiss. A band that's... I don't like it. I don't understand why people like Kiss.
Okay.
It's baffling to me.
Well, again, let's not yuck anybody else's yum.
Okay, that's not a saying. I don't think.
It's an expression.
All right.
I learned it from Travis McElroy. I don't know if he made it up.
He definitely made that up. Artists were even accused of hiding satanic messages within their songs, urging listeners to commit violent acts to themselves or others. That's probably what you remember. I do remember that from VH1 as well. There was like a thing.
Because there's like this weird thing where like Alice Cooper in his suit on the witness stand. I'm like, oh, this is not the natural place you should be.
Do you know what Alice Cooper loves to do?
Be in a suit on it?
Golf. Alice Cooper is a big golfer.
Is he really?
He's a very big golfer.
Why is that a thing you know?
I mean...
Why is his name Alice Cooper?
It's the band name. And,
his name isn't Alice Cooper?
No, he changed it. He made up the name. I watched Behind the Music.
Dude.
Mom and Archie.
What?
It's the character from the Archie comics.
Alice Cooper is the mom from the Archie comics?
Yeah.
Mikey is just sitting in the next room, like, throwing truth bombs from over there.
Well, I don't know if I can categorize that as truth bombs, but
Mikey, how's the puppy? Is she doing good? Does she miss me?
Just sleeping.
She has been sleeping for the last 12 hours.
She fell asleep on my head earlier.
Okay, keep going. Let's pretend we still have listeners.
The rise of over-the-top horror movies utilizing metal music helped further solidify metal's link to the occult.
Oh.
Among the most prominent and terrible examples is the made-for-TV movie Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, a movie that pitted the glam band against the evil spirit.
We're talking about punching up titles.
Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. I think that, I mean, you know what that movie is going to be about.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's a punchy title.
I mean,
it's a little.
It's no different than The Fate of the Furious. I don't know what the hell that movie's
Show
about.
Don't Tell. First of all, have you seen The Fate of the Furious?
No, I want to though.
Mikey, he hasn't seen.
It's good.
It's so good. We watched it at the Hollywood Palms near us, where you can drink during it, which is the only reason I would tolerate a Fast and Furious movie. Mm-hmm. It's so good. Mikey's getting drunk and yelling. Keep going.
It's been Toronto.
Why does Vin Diesel talk like that all the time?
I can't do it.
You know what's the best in those movies is the British guy.
Kurt Russell?
No, the British guy. He's in Spy. Mm-hmm. I fucking... What is it?
Jason Statham. I just remembered. Mike didn't remember.
I thought Mikey said Sting.
No, Jason. Yeah, Sting is really great in this movie.
Statham is really good in the new one. He's a delight. It's a great movie. There are like 2 women who say words in it, and normally that's like I'm donezo with that, but I just liked it so much. Also, wait, I have to tell you a story. I'm sorry, guys. So Mikey and I saw it a couple weeks ago it's a place in the Chicago suburbs. It's called Hollywood Palms, and it's one of those like it's recliners, and also you get food and beer or whatever liquor you choose. And so we saw it on like Easter Sunday after we left his mom's place, and so Mikey and I were sitting there, and like 2 seats apart from us, there was a man and his, I don't know, maybe a 10-year-old son. And I couldn't stop laughing for the first hour because every interesting or fun thing that happened, Mikey and this 9-year-old kid would make the same faces. And then at one point, something crazy happened, and I went to look at so Mikey was to my left and this kid was further to his left, and I went to look at Mikey, and the kid also looked at Mikey, and the kid and I made eye contact and did like the biggest smiling face. And so from then on, anytime something weird would happen in the movie that was like bonkers, he and I would just do like and then the movie ended, and his dad hustled him out of the movie theater, which honestly was probably a good parenting move from him, but I was like...
Keep him away from you.
Yeah. Anyway, am I on track, or...
Yep, totally. Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. The film was largely panned as being completely unwatchable.
Garbage?
Yeah.
Unwatchable.
Also, one of the members of Kiss, and I'm pretty sure it was Peter Criss, was completely hammered the entire time. Now, that could be slander. It might not have been Peter Criss, but that's the probably only guy I can remember from Kiss right now. I listened to a podcast about it. Simmons. The conservative backlash to all the Satanism and occultism was, of course, the newly created genres white metal and Christian punk.
Yeah. A thing I absolutely adore is peers of mine. I think I'm thinking specifically of Ross Blotcher told me the story that like he still sincerely likes Christian rock.
Really?
Oh, we had dinner with him.
Yeah.
And he was like, I still like Christian rock.
I don't remember him saying that. Did he really?
No. I mean, who knows what was happening.
Maybe that was before I got there.
I was so sick. I was so sick with the flu.
Oh, yeah. That was a bad weekend for you. It was a lot of fun, though.
It was so much fun. We went to Very, Very Fun Day, which is the Maximum Fun thing. I want to be a Max Fun so bad. I reached out. They didn't get back to me.
For the podcast?
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit off-brand for that.
I'm fun. Listen how fun I am.
Yeah.
Whee!
Yeah, you are whimsical as fuck.
Uh-huh. Hey, Kev, do you think this is the best recording we've done?
Of the 3 that we've done, is this the best? Yeah. I mean, we're almost through it, so yeah, it's the one we've got.
The bar is low. Finish this. Is this your last page?
No.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
MTV later came under fire for promoting occultism. Many bands used occult symbols in their backgrounds or on instruments, probably because
just to fuck with people.
We're so mad that they were promoting Satanism. It's like, well, okay, if you're going to accuse me of promoting Satanism, I may as well lean in. So many bands use occultism symbols in backgrounds or on instruments, which drew decries from the PMRC and other groups. Many
PMRC was which one?
It
doesn't
matter. This typical words thing.
Oh, okay.
Many concluded that there were also subliminal messages hidden within the videos.
subliminal messages had their moment, didn't they?
I remember a Saved by the Bell episode that featured heavily subliminal messages.
I'm sorry, within the context of the episode?
Yeah, it was one of the psychology teachers maybe was played a tape with subliminal messages in it, and then like the next day all the kids showed up with like gifts for her. And then I think Screech took that idea and was like, well, if the teacher...
Do you think it's to do with chicks?
Yeah. Scrooge is like, I can get ladies
because
with subliminal messages.
Ladies are a thing to be won and not a whole human entity of their own. God.
I mean, I don't know if that needed to be sung, but... yeah, so he managed to get a subliminal recording onto the speaker system, I guess, for like the...
Oh, brother.
And then... to teach him a lesson. It didn't actually work.
Teach him a lesson.
Screech. To teach Screech a lesson. Yeah, to teach Screech a lesson.
Yeah.
To, I guess, not mess with people like that. Everybody played along and pretended like they were all like into Screech, and then there was like a zombie outbreak, kind of. Anyway.
Is that the end of Fever Dream?
I'm pretty sure that's an actual episode. The use of scantily clad women and the free use of alcohol and smoking were also suspected of trying to corrupt kids.
Brother.
MTV was banned in a mental health facility in Connecticut, and the U.S. Surgeon General said that MTV was a liability.
I'm sorry, the what?
The U.S. Surgeon General said that MTV was a liability.
What year is this?
I don't remember the year. Probably.
This is like a Clinton...
No, this is Reagan.
Oh, this is still Reagan? I thought we were in the 90s.
No. Still, we're deeply in the 80s.
I don't remember the 80s.
I love the 80s. Even Thriller was considered dangerous, though a lack of videos and the popularity of Michael Jackson kept the video in heavy rotation.
Really quick. Oh, I see. Okay.
So, like, they're like, hey, this whole Thriller thing is really about, like, occultism. And then he was like, well... Sorry, we have like 6 videos, and this is one of them. Also, Michael Jackson's pretty great, so we're going to keep playing this thing.
I remember so specifically the first time I saw we were sitting in our family room. And
I'm listening.
There was... Yeah, you should be. You're on my podcast. And they did like a behind-the-scenes thing. And then I remember seeing Thriller, and I was like, oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good video.
Oh, it's so good. Michael Jackson, though. Hot take. Michael Jackson was really talented.
The growing popularity of VCRs also helped further the panic. Not only were home videos accused of bringing anti-Christian ideals into the homes of American children, but a cottage economy of evangelical-produced warning videos pointing out satanic references in movies, television, comic books, and board games sprang up as well.
I bet those are all legit.
Yeah, I really wish I could find one of those.
You could.
I wouldn't also look, so...
It's like you don't take your sister's podcast seriously, Kevin.
I wrote 6 pages.
We have tens of listeners.
Dozens.
They've started numbering themselves.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very sweet of them.
Because Evan and I always make a joke, we're like, we have 6 listeners, and we're like, I'm number 7. We honestly have... like the greatest humans as listeners. I've gotten, it's been really, they're great. I love them. I love you guys. I'm sorry, keep going.
I'd like to give a special shout out to Sarah, who might be one of your listeners. For the most part, satanic ritual abuse has faded away into the history books.
You don't say.
As Americans began to worry about other, less fantastic outrages. Although, even today, Satanism will find its way into the fringes of media and the cultural consciousness. Recently, it was identified as being a part of the Pizzagate scandals by conspirators. And that's the story of Satanism.
Pizzagate?
Yeah, Pizzagate.
What did they have to do with Pizzagate?
It was something in the signage, I think, was like, oh, that's a goat head, maybe.
Jesus Christ. Listen, I know people accuse millennials of having too much time on our hands because we have hobbies. No, I just feel like anytime somebody's like, oh, I made this giant cross stitch of a thing, it doesn't matter. People hate millennials a lot, and I'm a fine person.
You're one of the good ones.
That's what people keep telling me. Nobody's ever told me that. Kev.
Yes, Jessica.
Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Let's talk briefly about our religious upbringing,
Okay.
or sort of how we.
When I was driving out here, I was thinking about. So I work at a charter school that used to be the building it's in used to be a Catholic school. And all
It is a Catholic
schools.
as fuck building
At the end of the
with a problematic painting of Bill Cosby.
Oh yeah, there is probably.
There's in the theater in his high school, they have a bunch of just like media figures painted on.
Mm-hmm. It was probably drawn in the 80s.
80s, yeah. And there's a
Bill Cosby.
pretty big Bill Cosby.
I think there's one person of color in the mural, and I think it's Bill Cosby.
Oof, which is not great because it's almost all people of color in your school.
Yeah, there's like 2 white kids. Yeah, but at the end of the floor that I'm on, there's a say 9-foot cross.
Sure, that you pay deference to every day.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin and we're Catholic on both sides of our family.
I don't know.
Jesus Christ. Well, our mom is Italian. Italian Catholic. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
Our mom's dad was 80% probably part of the mob.
He definitely helped.
Whether he's part of the mob, he definitely like got some TVs that fell off trucks.
Yeah, definitely. He ran a grocery store in upstate New York in the 1920s, and you guys can draw your own conclusions on that.
Have you heard Nani? Nani is our grandmother who's still with us. She, during Prohibition, her dad made bathtub gin, and she said, I have video of Nani and I talking that she used to remember like screwing tops on like bottles of bathtub gin.
She used to drive a car when she was really young.
Really? Nani did?
I
know Papa did.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Papa then.
Could be.
Like, he and his dad would drive together.
Oh, and his dad would split off.
Yeah, if the cops started chasing him, the dad would split off, and Papa had, I think, all the booze in the underage kids' car.
Oh, Papa!
Which obviously.
That sounds about right. But anyway, so our grandparents came to the U.S. when they were, like, young kids.
Yeah.
And they were Catholic, and then our dad's family is Irish Catholic, German. And so our dad grew up going to Catholic church and hated it.
A story that I remember that Dad told me was when he started at either Quincy College when he was there or Western Illinois University when he was there.
I forgot about Quincy College.
Granny Gramps, his mom and dad came out to visit him and were appalled when he did not know where the school church was.
Stop it, really?
Yeah. They were like real pissed at him because he just, as soon as he got out of the house, he just stopped going to church, and then sort of brought that to our family.
Yeah. Well, our dad's thing was all about. I remember Dad specifically saying he hated going to church and he hated going to CCD.
Yeah.
So he was not going to force his kids to do it.
Right.
I don't think he predicted the hard swing we both did into atheism, but...
Yeah, you're more vocal about it than I am. I just kind of don't care.
Me?
Yeah. Well,
vocal?
You're more vocal about most things than I am. I just kind of don't care. Like, I don't...
Well, you're a white guy. You don't have to care about anything.
Yeah, I don't have to care about a lot of things.
It's a pretty easy place to be.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
No, but I remember... Do you remember when Mom tried to get us to go to church when we were like, in middle school?
And we laughed at her?
Yeah, I think she got us to go once, and then...
I certainly did. I just remember her saying, like, I feel like we should all start going to church again. And we're like...
Yeah, I think Dad was like, no, and then we were like, oh, well, then no. I didn't realize that was an option.
Well, we definitely, like, when Granny, our dad's mom, would come to town, we would do, like, Easter, Christmas church.
Did we?
I remember one time specifically that we had to go to church for either Easter or Christmas. It must have been Christmas because you and I were in the pews, and this was not a comfortable environment for us. Mm-hmm. And the woman in front of us had, like, a fur coat.
I don't remember this.
And you and I kept petting it, and Mom
Holy shit, really?
And Mom was like, stop it. She was so mad at us.
I mean, if that's our way of making sure we never had to go back to church ever, then we were diabolical.
Mikey, you want to tell your Tic Tac story?
No.
Yeah, you do, baby. Come on. Oh, he says no.
I mean, parts of our family are still pretty religious, and every time we go to a wedding, we always
don't do great.
We don't do great. Last wedding we were at, Dad fell asleep. Jenny's wedding. Dad fell asleep at Jenny's wedding during the ceremony.
To be fair, we were in Texas and we couldn't hear shit.
Yeah.
It was in like the oldest working
whatever. And so Dad fell asleep, and we were sort of teasing him afterward, and he said, "I wasn't asleep. I was deep in prayer," which is a really good dad joke. But Jessica and I will almost always get the giggles when we're at a church.
Because it's a place I'm deeply uncomfortable, and the way I deal with like discomfort is giggling inappropriately. Yeah. Although sometimes I get the giggles because, so when we're in a Catholic church, which are cousins when they get married, it's invariably in a Catholic church.
Our next familial wedding is in a Catholic church.
Definitely not going to that. It's a 2:00 wedding and a 7:00 reception.
You have to go. I'm going. You have to go.
No, I don't. I don't have to do anything. I'm an adult.
It's true.
But anyway, we are at a church, and so when people say like bow your head and pray, I don't bow my head. I just sit quietly because it's me being like I'm not going to bow my head because that doesn't mean anything. And my brother was behind the pew behind me, and pokes me in the back of the head.
Well, she's supposed to bow her head. Listen to the guy in charge.
We cried laughing through don't invite us to a wedding. Like, that's their problem. That's on them.
Yeah, God. I always get the giggles. I always try to get somebody else to get the giggles, too. Oftentimes it's Jessica. Sometimes it's just another cousin that we get along with that I'll just start the B team. I'll start side-eyeing them a little bit. Trying to see if I can get anybody's attention, and then see if I can get them going a little bit. Because I'm not listening, and I'm sure it's a beautiful
and you're
ceremony,
like
and blah, blah, blah,
too
blah, blah.
disrespectful to like do.
Yeah.
That's
also, I'm too ADD.
Yeah, no, I do struggle with that. Also, last story. We should probably close this out because who the fuck gives a shit? So at my wedding, Kevin stood up as a groomsman, with Mikey, and Kevin was. Were you at the end? Were you the last of the 5 or whatever?
At your wedding?
At my wedding?
Yeah, I was the last one.
So Kevin and I are pretty close, I guess. Right?
As siblings?
As siblings?
Yeah, I would say we were pretty close.
Yeah. We're like friends. Well, okay. So I'm at my ceremony, and our mutual friend Patrick is officiating. He's doing a great job because he's an excellent speaker and a wonderful human. And I see my brother kind of at the end of the row of groomsmen.
Yeah, we didn't pace it out very well. So I was on the stage. She got married at a theater. I was on the stage against the whatever you call it, side things on a theater.
Side things
on the theater, leaning against it. So I didn't. Oh boy.
Proscenium arch, says my husband.
Boy.
Doesn't sound like a real thing to me. So anyway, I had this nice thought in my head of like, oh, there's my brother. I'm going to make eye contact with my big brother, who's my best friend, and we're going to have a nice moment while I'm getting married. And we're just going to, like, have that thing. And Kev, what happened?
I was lost in thought.
You were leaning against the wall. Staring at the ground.
Lost in thought.
And I really need to emphasize our ceremony was 12 minutes long.
Yeah, it was tough.
Including walking up.
Well, but I did have the best entrance afterward.
What'd you do? He did. He, when they call the people out and whatever, he was out with my girlfriend Leslie, and they did a trust fall.
Yeah.
First of all, I'll have to post the picture somewhere because it's a magical picture of Kevin. Leslie is
dainty,
5 feet tall, and like 100 pounds soaking wet. Mm-hmm. But would you say like I said
right before we walked out, I said I'm gonna catch you low, and like didn't give her a chance to respond to anything, and so we walked out, and I didn't catch her that low.
No, it wasn't very low.
I really wanted to catch her at like knee level just to see what would happen, but I last second bailed on that.
You didn't want my wedding to be about my friend with the cracked skull.
Well, I was trying not to be the center of attention for a little bit.
Was that hard?
Wasn't easy.
All right, Kev.
Yes, Jessica.
You had things you wanted to plug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got a couple things going on at school that we could use some money for if you guys have some
so
money.
Kevin works for a charter school in, Southwest?
Southside.
Southside?
In, Gage Park, Marquette Park area.
He's been working there for how many years?
This is my 3rd year.
3rd year. He works with another one of my really good buddies, Matthew, who is expecting a kiddo in a month and a half.
Yep. So there's 2 things. You can either look for Catalyst Maria or CMHS. One's a Physics Day Six Flags trip. We're trying to raise some money for that.
Stop! Wait, what is it all about? Are you doing actual experiments, or is this like a low level?
I don't know, but I get to go. So
Kev,
money, please.
Kev, we can just go to Six Flags.
Yeah, but I get to go to Six Flags with my teacher friends and my kids that I really like, and so that'll be a lot of fun because I have a junior homeroom and they're all taking physics, so we get to go.
So are they actually doing like physics stuff?
I would imagine there's actual physics things happening.
And these are kids that they don't just get to go to Six Flags every year.
Yeah, and then the other thing is we just started a baseball team this year. And we're
Tell
trying
them
to
all about the
generate-
baseball team.
We're trying to generate some money for that. We got really cool hats. Most of the kids have not played baseball before, but it's a lot of fun.
It's high school kids.
High school kids. We're 5-1 now in our conference,
So
which puts us in 2nd place in our conference.
Stop it!
Yeah, our first game that we won, I was almost crying on the drive home. I was so happy and proud of
Yeah,
them.
you
So,
text us about it.
yeah, they're a lot of fun. The kids are great.
These are kids who didn't Kevin and I grew up in the league.
So,
All right, Mikey, is this the moment you needed ice?
I'm thirsty.
Kevin and I grew up doing Little League. It's a thing we take for granted. But your kiddos, this is the first time they're in high school, and this is the first time they're.
Yeah, so far there's been 2 stray dogs at our practice, which is funny, and then it gets less funny after that. At one point there was a house on fire that was relatively close enough for us to be able to see the billows of smoke.
Jesus.
And then one practice had to be called early because there were shots fired in the area. So, very funny, but kind of serious, and it's an area that it's a little bit.
And these kids,
they're awesome. They're great.
They're such good kids.
They really are.
And these are. We can cut this out if you don't want to talk about it, but when Trump got elected, it was a huge conversation we had in our family about you have undocumented kids in your school, and
they came in. They were very scared the next day, and understandably so. They were.
They're in danger.
Yeah, and they were specifically targeted by the new administration for being a detriment to society, and so for some reason that really freaked them out.
And I can think of your one student who you've had for years.
Yeah, she's in my homeroom.
Who's
she keeps me honest in that she comes in and tells me what trailers I missed. She can't.
She brought you a sugar skull.
She brought me a
C-3PO
sugar skull. She got me Star Wars themed hot chocolate and a mug for my birthday, which was very sweet of her. And came in and was so legitimately upset with me that I had not seen the trailer for episode 8 yet because I didn't know it had come out.
What the fuck were you doing, Kevin?
I was, being my best self, and made me watch it and watched me watching it the entire time to see how I would react.
She's this girl specifically is such a fucking doll, and when she was a freshman, I first went to visit my brother at his school. My dad and I brought our mom made scarves for the kids. Mm-hmm. So my dad and I came in around Christmas, and you're like, "Hey, so and so, bring my sister around, give her a tour." She's sweet and bright, and is the exact person who we all need to look at when we talk about undocumented immigrants.
Yeah.
She's
amazing.
She's the daughter or student any of us would have killed for.
Yeah.
She's smart and sweet.
She's starring in the High School Musical, which is In the Heights. starting next week. So those so next weekend I think is when it is.
Okay,
so,
I'm gonna come see it.
Yeah, so any listeners who are in the Chicagoland area, in the Heights, Catalyst Marine
They're
High
doing
School.
In the Heights?
Yeah, they got.
Okay, I'm gonna get Elena to come see it. She loves that musical
come
because it's Lin-Manuel Miranda who did Hamilton. It's his original. I didn't know you guys.
What's Hamilton?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody. Hamilton is it's like mediocre. It's like a musical. It's really boring.
Yeah.
It's like 1776, but with like people of color.
What happens?
Like nothing much.
Is this about the guy who ran the Treasury? Boring. You ran the Treasury, right?
Yeah.
We saw it for my birthday together. It was one of the most moving pieces of art I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
So
It's very cool. I want to see it again and again and again.
I never want to stop seeing it, I guess is what I would say. Not that I want to see it more than you, but I think that's what I'd said. Hey, I guess we should probably end this.
Nah, I'm good. Moana's really good too.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my God,
Mikey
it's
doesn't
so
want to
good.
see it, and he's the person I watch movies with.
You can watch movies on your own.
No,
too.
I understand, but like when I'm on my own, I just want to watch serial killer documentaries.
Sure, that makes sense. Moana's like a serial killer documentary, but
Tell me how.
with The Rock
Yep.
and a little girl who's very good singer.
Did you see her at the Oscars?
Yeah, it was great.
Oh my god.
It was really
Like,
good.
were
That's-
I a tenth as talented?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's probably kill this. Hey guys, if you're still listening to this,
Thank you all, both of
bless
you.
your heart. B, tweet at us. I'm Blueberry, BLUEBURE.
I don't know my Twitter handle. But if you want us to do something like this again, by all means, send us an idea.
Yeah, honestly, this was fun. It's not dumb.
We had a lot of fun. I'm sure you did not.
I feel like it's really important to note that for like 2 years, our dad wouldn't have dinner with us together.
Yeah, because we would interrupt each other too much, and he hated being with both of us at the same time.
Which isn't an unfair
No.
thing.
No,
to
I
feel.
imagine that a lot of people get very annoyed with those very quickly.
Well,
Turns
there
out
you
this
go.
hasn't been recording the whole time. That'll be fun.
Well, I mean, this would be the third time we tried to record this.
I'm not doing this again.
All right.
We'll do another thing
Do you want
next
to do
time.
more research?
I don't mind.
All right.
Summer's
hey,
coming
Kev.
up.
We'll do it live.
My husband did a Bill O'Reilly yell from the living room. It's good. It's timely, baby. You're very smart and great. Hey, Kev. Thanks
Jessica.
for coming on.
Of course, this was my pleasure. I
Maybe
had a
we'll
lot of
do
fun.
something like this again.
Yeah, if they didn't
Not
hate it.
maybe this specific thing, because this is the third time we've done it.
Yeah, this is too much for this.
Mm-hmm.
We did some of the same jokes. I don't know if you did them on purpose or not, though.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
will say when I was listening back to one of them, like, I would think of a joke in my head and then I would hear myself say it. Like, okay. I don't know if that means I'm original or not, but
Yeah, this is fun. I did enjoy doing the research and stuff like that. It was something that I
I'm
was,
glad you enjoyed it.
You've been listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast. If you like what you're listening to, please make a contribution to patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast.
You can email us at friendlyatheistpodcast@gmail.com. I am at Blueberry on Twitter. Hemant is at his dumb name.
Yep.
And see you next time.